Welcome to Freedom Files. I'm Ed Cox. I'm a Texas attorney and represent clients before the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles. The purpose of this podcast is to show you how much in common we all have with those who serve time in prison. Today, I am talking with Jake Johnson. Jake was born in Vermont, grew up in Florida, and moved to Texas in 2014. He is a talented contractor and lives with his wife, Erin, and their young son. Jake has successfully reintegrated into society and lives a great life with his family right now. And I'm excited to share our conversation with you. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Well, we're on. Jake, welcome to Freedom Files. Thanks a lot for agreeing to talk to me. I'm super excited to talk to you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm waiting to get out in the yard and cut some trees up.
Good. Well, I'm glad I could keep you from that for a little while. So I was looking back at a letter you wrote to Tate, and it's got down that you were born in St. Albans, Vermont. Is that right?
Sure.
So tell me about your time in Vermont. I know you moved when you were 9 to Florida, but can you tell me a little bit about what Vermont was like?
Very cold. I mean, my parents liked to party a lot, so I got a lot of time playing in the snow and all that. You know, sledding was a big thing. They'd all drag us kids out to the big old hills and we go sledding. And other than that, you know, walking to school in the snow, you know, that's all I remember is it being really cold.
Yeah. And so did you have any siblings, brothers or sisters?
Oh, yeah, I got 2 younger sisters, but my baby sister was just born when we had moved to Florida. So I had my middle sister. She's 4 years younger than me. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was both of us. And then, of course, all my family's up there, like my cousins. And so on my mom's side, she's got 5 brothers and 4 sisters. So I have a lot of cousins.
Yeah, big family.
Yeah.
So what led your family to move from Vermont to Florida?
My dad was looking for work. So believe it or not, he actually came to Austin, Texas first, looking for work, and then didn't find nothing here. And then we ended up in Florida, in D-Land, Florida, and we've been there ever since, 40 years. He went down there and got in with a guy that was from Vermont that my family knew up there.
What was it like when you moved?
It was a shock. I had never seen a Black person in my life, not to be mean or nothing, but, you know, up there was no colors, people, or, you know, so I come down to Florida. I don't know. It was a big culture shock to me. So I got picked on a lot for being a little hillbilly kid and all that, you know. And, you know,
And so how would you describe growing up as a kid in Florida? I mean, what kind of a life did you lead?
I was really outgoing, you know, on my bicycle. I was always running the neighborhood, you know. You know, back then it wasn't like it is today, people keeping their kids all cooped up and everything, you know, stuck on video games. I was outside all the time. So I found a lot of trouble to get into, you know, because my parents were always partying and at work. So I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. So a lot of my friends would come to my house and everything, and we'd run around in the woods, you know, start fires, all that crazy crap.
And where in Florida were you all?
In D-Land, Florida. It's Volusia County, about 15 minutes from Daytona Beach.
My wife and I recently went to Flagler Beach, which I think is just up the coast a bit.
Yeah. Flagler's really nice. Yeah. That's one of our fishing holes up there in Flagler going fishing.
Yeah. It's a great place. So what?
New Smyrna.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, when you started getting into trouble with the law?
Really young, about 13, 14 years old. I think I got caught stealing something, with a little girlfriend of mine. I was trying to be cool and all that, but it kind of slapped me on the wrist, let me go with that because my parents were down there. And after that, it was stealing bicycles and shit like that. I was doing stupid stuff. I don't know. My dad was kind of weird about, punishments and everything. So I kind of rebelled. Plus I was, into smoking a lot of marijuana. When I got turned about 15, 16, I started smoking a lot of marijuana. So, and then I met girls and everything. So it was just like, once I found them girls and all that, I didn't care what my parents said. I was doing, I was sneaking out, riding my bike miles and miles and miles to go meet up with girls, me and my friends. And, we'd stop at stores and steal wine and everything like that and bring it to the girls' houses and get all drunk. And I did a lot of stupid stuff that I regret. Yes, sir.
And so, when did you first get, I know you said you were arrested at 13, but when did you first get arrested and charged as an adult?
Oh, when I stole my parents' car and my dad was doing the tough love thing on me and he pressed charges on me. I was 16. I went to court and they were going to give me like 4 or 6 months in the county jail when I was 16. The judge didn't realize I was only 16. So I threatened the judge in the courtroom and told him I'd sue him if he sent me to the county jail. I was only 16 years old. They cuffed me up and brought me into the back and everything, but I was scared. And the officer came back there and let me go. My mom was already walking down the hallway crying. I come running up behind Mom. She's like, "What are you doing?" She thought I done ran, and I said, "Well, they let me go." And then my dad was really upset about that, but I never got sentenced on that or nothing. But let me think. The next time I really, maybe it was, I don't really remember the first time I got it.
How did that experience when your dad reported you on stealing the car, how did that affect you? I mean, was it like you went through that experience in the courtroom and then you were like back to normal, or did it have any effect on you?
It affected me because Dad was really upset. That was like the first car my parents had actually saved up their money and bought. And I done went in there and took it. But my dad was on a lot of, he was Valiums and all that. And that's what made me do it. I went in his bedroom. I had stole a bunch of pills from him. And I had me and my buddies all screwed up on pills, and we're like, "Oh, let's go steal your dad's car." Or my friends didn't even get in the car with me. So, because my dad had a bad reputation about shooting guns off and stuff like that. So when I wanted to do stupid stuff around with my dad, my friends didn't do it with me.
Yeah.
So he was.
Did in terms of what you and your friends did, what role did you play? Were you the one who came up with the ideas of what you all needed to do, or
Yeah, I pretty much was the leader because I was taking the drugs from my dad, so I'd get them all messed up, and then I'd come up with these outlandish ideas, and they would follow me. So,
how do you think you came to be that person in your teenage years? Was there anything about your upbringing that led you to be that way?
Yes. My dad was kind of, and he wasn't my real father. This is my stepdad, but he raised me since I was 3 months old. He was a Vietnam vet. They partied a lot. He had a weird way of teaching me stuff. You know what I mean? Like if I got a new BB gun, he's going to take me outside and show me what not to do with it. He would shoot the lights out or, shoot stuff with it. He's like, this is what you don't do with it. I don't know. He just, he never, if you're going to steal something, you do it by yourself. He did the weird, he taught me weird, you know what I mean? And that was one of the first reasons why I went down into a bicycle shop. I was like 16 or 17, I think. We were all racing BMX bicycles at the time. And he told me, if you're ever, you get drunk and tell me all this weird stuff. If you're going to break into something, you go through the roof. So, of course, me and my buddies, we got all stoned one day, and that's what we did. We went down to the swing shop and crawled through the roof and dropped down through the ceiling into the bicycle shop. And stole brand new bicycles right out of the shop that, where we shopped and got all of our bicycle parts for years for BMX racing. And I don't know, it was just, my upbringing had a lot to do with the way I acted. By the time I was 16, 17, in high school, every weekend, it was, all of us friends get together with, 2 or 3 gallons of liquor, whiskey out in the woods, get drunk. That's just puking, sloppy drunk. And I don't know, that's just what I watched all my life growing up.
How was your relationship with your mom and sisters?
My sisters love me to death. They still love me to death. My mom loves me to death still, My mom, she still treats me like I'm a little baby. I mean, to this day, if I pull up there, it's what you want to eat. You got any dirty laundry, this and that, she's going to make sure all my clothes are washed, feed me, and she still treats me like I'm her little baby. I mean, after all the tough love me and my dad went through, because granted, the way I grew up was a lot of reasons I got in trouble, but he did teach me right from wrong too, But I went to a lot of boys' homes. I went to a couple boys' homes, detention centers, and he showed me the tough love thing. But by the time I was 21, 22, I kind of mellowed out, and me and my dad became really close, working together and all that. And, he was like my best friend, but it was still the partying was still there. Me and dad, we'd get together every weekend and barbecue, play horseshoes, drink cases of beer, whatever drug was floating around that weekend, be it pills, cocaine, marijuana was always in there. That's what we do all weekend. And that's half the reason I went through my first divorce, because that's what I'd go do all the time. I'd get paid. I'd hand my wife half my paycheck, and then the other half was going to my mom and dad's, and I'm partying all weekend.
So what kind of work did you and your dad do together?
I started out roofing when I was young, So he took me when Hurricane Andrew hit down in Miami, Florida, down there in Dade County. We had a big old crew that got together. So we're framing, we're doing metal buildings, roofing. I mean, we started out with roofing, and then the jobs progressively got bigger. We were down there about a year and a half, off and on. We'd go down there for months, come back home for a couple of weeks, go down there for months. So I had learned a lot down there in the construction field, between metalwork, roofing, framing. And then I really took to framing. I liked the woodwork. So I came back and I got with another guy, and he framed, and him and this old guy, he built custom homes for this old guy, Steve Birch. And I got with him when I was like 18, and I worked with him for about 5 years, just me and him. And then he taught me a lot in the framing. So I started working with him for $5 or $6 an hour. And then, I worked with him 4 or 5 years. And I went back to my dad and them guys. And then, I had a couple buddies that started their own framing crews. So I just started, I go in circles, like keeping work with everybody, remodeling home.
It sounds like you must have done good work framing and roofing to do it as long as you did.
Yeah. I did plumbing for a couple of years. I've done block work. I've done a lot of different trades. I'm not a master of any of them, but framing's the one I stuck with, and roofing. I mean, roofing's pretty easy. So
you talked about being married at that time, and so tell me about your wife then. How did y'all meet, and what was it like being married?
Actually, my sister's best friend in high school, or one of her best friends, and she was a bail bondsman. So it was like a win-win for me. I thought, anyways, I'd get in trouble and she'd get me out of jail. Well, that only lasted about a couple of years. And then it flipped the script on me. She'd throw me in jail. You know what I mean? I'd be sitting at the house, and she'd send her bounty hunters in, and they'd come arrest me and take me to jail. I'd be like, oh God. So it was, we had a love-hate relationship for 13 years.
So did you all have children?
Yes, sir. When I got with her, she had a daughter already that was, how old was Kat? 2 years old, 3 years? She was like 4 years old. Yes, she was like 3 or 4 years old. So, but I ended up raising her for, 13 years. So she calls me daddy. So that's like my daughter. And then I have Chloe's 20 now? Yeah, she just turned 20. My other daughter just turned 20 with her. And then Jacob's with my first son's with my high school girlfriend. So, but yeah, I got 2 kids, 2 daughters with her, and maybe a third one. We ain't figured that out yet. Yeah. I signed a birth certificate, but that when we were going through all that caused a divorce to start getting a little rough, because she had right when we were getting separated, she moved another guy, and I knew that from her work at the bounty hunter, and ended up marrying him within the first year. He started telling me it was his kid. So, and then that's where it started getting a little, that's why I was like, when Aaron offered me to come to Texas, I left. I was just like, because I was looking at going to prison there if I hung out any longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't drive by my house without wanting to drive my truck through it,
So you've got her daughter, you have children of your own. It seems to me you were awfully busy going down to Dade County, working, doing all the framing you did, and then getting together with your friends and your father on the weekend, and you had kids. It just seems to me like that's like burning the candle at both ends. How did you do all that?
Well, you know what? When I was in Dade County, that was with my high school girlfriend. So I hadn't even had no children yet when that was going on. When I got with April, I was doing I think I was framing then. But when she dropped me off at my parents' house on the weekend, I'd take my daughter with me. You know what I mean? Because I'd have my baby sister there and my mom. So Chloe would just hang out, jam out, listen to music, and they'd hook her up, and she'd either hang out with my baby sister or my mom would be taking care of her.
So that worked out good.
That was part of the like Aaron says, April would enable it. But but she was, if I wanted to go over there, I had to take my daughter.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I don't know what she's doing. I never even thought about that part. You know what I mean? Come to find out, she's probably just, she's she's evil, so I thought so anyway.
So you brought up Aaron.
Yeah.
When and how did the two of you meet?
We met through my ex-wife. That was April, and Aaron used to be pretty good friends back in the day. Aaron never really even liked me when she first met.
Despised.
This is my interview.
and so
She didn't like me because
yeah,
I had a bad attitude. Because I had she kind of, Aaron's a pretty good judge of character, so she kind of picked me off, knowing what kind of person I was, but I don't know how now it's like, I don't know. I changed, I guess.
Well, how did you all connect, and why did you decide to make the move from Florida to Texas?
Well, me and April, I had seen Erin on Facebook. She had just come back from a deployment overseas. So, I was like, hey, what's up? Let's go out and have a drink or something. And I don't know why she even said yes, and she despised me so much. Oh, whatever. She said she felt sorry for me. So it'd been about 2 years since me and my ex-wife split up. So Erin comes over, we pick up, she picks me up, we go to we go play putt golf or something like that.
First we went to that little dive bar.
Oh yeah, we went to Dolly's, a little bar that my a neighborhood friend's sister opened up a little bar. So I took her to the local bar to play darts and
that was the first time.
Oh, she said I drank a Coke. I didn't drink a beer. So she thought I changed, I guess.
I've never seen you not drink a beer. Every time I hate you.
So what were you thinking when you all are out for the first time?
Oh, we were at first. It was just a friend thing. I was just like, oh well, and then it started. I don't know. She came back again and again and again, and then we started talking. And then I was like, and I started talking to my mom about it, and I was like, well, Erin said I could go back to Texas with her. She's got people there to put me to work. My mom's looking at, because my mom, I ain't never been away from my mother either. I've always been around for my mom, I was like, Mom, I was living with my mother. So I'm just like, I don't have nothing here, really, anything anyways, but you. And I said, what I'm going through with my kids and my ex-wife, I said, I'm just going to end up back in prison again. Go figure, I ended up in prison here. But so I left.
So when you get to Texas, what did you do to make ends meet?
Me?
Yeah.
I went out and started, first I just started mowing the yards and stuff in the neighborhood. I got a lawnmower and weed eater, and I just started, going around mowing yards. I got a truck. So, and then with her being in the National Guard, the recruiter, I got to meet a lot of people. And then she had me doing the volunteer work for Home Depot. So I really got into that. I really liked that. I liked helping the older people, building the wheelchair ramps. And, you go to their houses, it'd be all overgrown or whatever, and, go clean up their yards. And, I dug that every weekend for a while. Plus, I got a lot of free tools out of it. And then to one of her friends at the National Guard, her friend's boyfriend, that's how I ended up meeting my boss now. And I've worked with him ever since. He hired me. I went and framed a house with him. After 2 days of me framing, the whole rest of his crew quit. And it was just me and him.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had 4 guys when I started. And about 2 weeks later, it was just me and him. So it's been like that ever since.
You go from this life in Florida that sounds like you're partying and having a good time quite a bit, And then you meet Erin, and she's a recruiter in the National Guard, and you're drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
When you came to Texas, what was life like on the weekends? What did you do?
Well, we had the grill, you know, we had no children either. So, you know, I got me a grill, we had the deck, you know. I'd have a few beers. She likes to drink her wine, you know, we'd hang out and have fun. And it was different for me.
And so how did that different feel to you?
Felt good. And then, of course, you know, me being me, I started screwing up again. That's like everything else.
And so
get comfortable, and then I find something else, and then something else. I don't know.
What, looking back on it, is there anything that you think led you to screw up, as you say?
It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm one of them. I come home, I get paid, and it's like when I get alone, I got these weird things like screw up. Like I got to try to get away with something. I don't know. It seems like, okay, I can go do this real quick without nobody knowing, or I can do this real quick. And that's when I'll go get high. And if I start getting high, I don't care what anybody thinks. You know what I mean? I don't care what she's going to say to me. I don't care about getting in trouble. I don't care about, my mind's on one track. I'm getting high. And then when I'm done, I'll deal with it all. Real bad attitude, you know. And then I'm thinking I'm not having a bad attitude, but come to find out I have a real bad attitude.
How old were you when you moved to Texas?
How long we been here? About 7 years, 8 years.
It was 2014.
2014, she says.
So about 8 years.
40.
Yeah, 4 years old.
You're born in 74.
Yeah.
And so when was the first time you had trouble and got arrested in Texas?
I got a DUI. The first house I framed with my boss, the guy that I framed it for, was like the head guy at the hardware store. So him and his wife, whenever we got done framing, came over to me on the side, gave me their phone number, and said, if you're not ever doing anything and you need some work, just come out here. You can work on the farm with us. So like every place I ever worked with my boss, this is how these people, they'd always come up to me after, and I'd get their phone numbers, and I always had side work if I didn't have work with my boss. So I go out there, and of course, this old boy, he's an alcoholic. He drinks from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep. So I was out there working, and I started drinking with him at about noon. You know, I can't drink at 7 o'clock in the morning like they do. Well, and then, you were pregnant?
Yeah, remember that was when you went to tell them that I was pregnant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hanging out all day, celebrating.
Yeah, I guess I was telling Chris that I was having a baby and with Aaron and everything. And then, so we started partying, and they told me to stay there and, you know, eat dinner, you know, chill out. We'll call your wife. You can go home in the morning. And I was like, I'm hard-headed. Hell no, I'm going home tonight. Yeah. So I made it all the way home, 3 blocks from the house, and I got pulled over. And I got a DUI. They took me to the hospital, took my blood, and come to find out, I had cocaine, marijuana, alcohol. The alcohol was 0.07. I mean, if I would have just had that in my system, I probably could have beat it, but I had all the other stuff in my system. So when I went in front of the state attorney, they tried to offer me 2 years probation or 30 days in the county jail. So I I was like, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to go ahead and just do the 30 days. And I got out in 11 days, I think, on it. I did 11 days on that charge. So, and that was the first time. And then the second time that I went to prison.
The second time, was it in 2018?
Yeah, or 17, 17 or 18, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was at the fireworks show.
And so what happened there?
Well, we left here. I had my daughter from Florida. We had our son in the back, pulled down to the firework place. I asked the police how to get down in there to park by the lake, and he told me to pull up over to the side. And then they raided my truck and said they smelled marijuana. Well, and there was no marijuana. Babe, do you want to do the interview?
No.
She's got her own story. She was tipsy that day, so she was giving the cops a hard time too. So because they really didn't have no reason to search my vehicle. But then when they did, they found the stuff behind the back seat. You know, my daughter was practically sitting on it on top of the cooler. And of course, everybody denied it. And then they said, well, nobody claims it. They take everybody to jail in the vehicle.
So what did they charge you with out of that?
What was it? Possession
Over a gram.
Yeah, felony possession over a gram.
And so
they were acting like the way the police were acting, they acted like they done found damn half ounce in there or something, or ounces. Yeah, they were trying to take my repo, my truck and everything.
Wow.
I mean, they impounded it to where I couldn't even get it back for a month. Yeah.
So did you end up taking a plea, or did you fight the charges?
I took a plea because in the end, I knew I had a bad record. And I knew they're going to get a conviction out of it. And then I didn't want Aaron, you know what I mean? They charged her with it too. And Smith County, their first offer to Aaron was 10 years probation. She's never been in trouble in her life. You know what I mean? And I was just like, well, there's only one way to fix this. And I'll take the charge and get it dropped off you. Because even if she got the charge, it would have ruined her military career. So I had to do something. So.
Yeah. And so you take the charge, and is Erin pregnant at that time, or has she given birth by then?
All right. We already had the baby by then. Yeah. He was 2 years old then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did it feel to take that charge and know you were going to prison?
Well, it felt bad because, I mean, we were on pretrial release for a year and a half. And I've been going down there and peeing every week for a year and a half, you know what I mean? And then you get into the courtroom and they didn't even take none of that into consideration. It was just like you're almost 2 years later, you're finally bringing me in on this charge, and you don't even see how much I've already changed or nothing, or, you know what I mean? How I'm looking at stuff different. But I knew they were going to treat me like that because I've already been to prison once. Yeah, and Smith County is pretty bad. So,
So what about you changed in that year and a half?
Oh, I just I quit. I quit doing all the bullshit, and I just started going to work. Erin, practically, she moved us out of our house all the way to where she worked in Marshall. You know what I mean? We stayed in one of her boss's little apartments for a year. She got me away from everybody around here that I knew and everything. So,
and how was that change for you?
it opened my eyes up like, damn, she's really serious about this. You know, she's, she stuck by me way better than most people would. I know that because I guess my ex-wife would have just, I don't know, she'd have locked my keys. She'd have locked me out of the house and thrown all my clothes outside and all that shit. You know what I mean? Erin's a little different. She's pretty serious. Like, I believe her when she tells me if I fuck up, that's it. You know what I mean? When she looks at me and tells me, you know, if this is what you're going to do, then I'm not playing with you. I'm going to leave. You know what I mean? I'm not playing this game. So I guess I respect her.
Yeah. And so did you all have conversations about how she would live while you served your sentence?
Well, we were very fortunate there because she got deployed for the COVID. So she was gone. So it kind of worked out and she wasn't sitting home, you know, dwelling on it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, he's not home. You know, she's not sleeping in a bed without me. She's not, you know what I mean? She was, even if I was here, she would have been gone. So, and she's still doing it right now. So I got to deal with her leaving right now for 3-4 days a week. So me and the boy are sitting here and I get him ready for school every morning. And if I got work, I go to work and I'm back here by 3:00 to get him for the school bus. And so, yeah, we were fortunate in that way because she just wasn't home. It probably would have took more of a toll on her if she would have been here, you know, every day.
Yeah,
I'm sure. But then we had hoodlums living in our house, you know, tearing everything up.
So when you get to TDCJ, tell me what it was like getting in there.
Well, the county jail, Smith County Jail, is pretty raunchy. So I had to wait there 5 months. When I finally caught Shane, I went there. I mean, truthfully, it wasn't as bad as Florida. The stay was worse than Florida, but the going in wasn't as bad as Florida. Florida's a little more ruthless on you. But I mean, babe, I don't want to tell everybody about my butt. She's like the medical treatment about my surgery and all that, but I'm like, I'm trying to keep away from all that.
Yeah.
But,
so
yeah,
how was it more ruthless in Florida?
Because Florida, when you got off the bus, they stripped you down right there in the parking lot. You know what I mean? It wasn't it had a little chain link fence. You got butt naked and you were like this with your penis through the dang chain link fence. They come around and here they walk you through a little thing. You know what I mean? But I guess there's new laws now for the PREA Act and all that. So back when I first went to prison, none of that existed. You know what I mean? Now you have to be, you're so far away from the other inmate. Before when it was nuts and butts, you know what I mean? You had to be lying right up to the other guy running through there. And now everybody, you know, Corona, COVID was all spaced out. They're not, you know, they got shades up everywhere where you're standing naked and stuff like that. You didn't have that when I first went to prison. All right, when I got to Garza, we were quarantined for 2 weeks in the same dorm. After that, we got moved to open dorms. And then when I got moved in that open dorm, it was really, down there in Beeville, you had all the Latinos and the Mexicans, and it was really gang affiliated. You couldn't even go sit down at a table without asking. You had the blacks and the Mexicans, and the whites pretty much didn't have nothing. So if you didn't ask permission or nothing like that, or get in with the guys, you know what I mean, you couldn't even pretty much leave your bunk. Well, I didn't care anywhere because that was me. I just stayed on my bunk, read books. I bought a chessboard, and that was how I got in with the guys. You know what I mean? That's how I ended up mingling with the people in the dorm. I sit down and play chess with the older guys, and then of course they respected the older fellas a little bit, but you still had to, watch. There was boundaries. You know what I mean? But then when I was only there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then that's when I went to Pam Lynchner. And then Pam Lynchner was way more of a kiddie camp there because everybody's trying to get out on parole. So, I mean, yeah, there was a little bit of, there was fights here and there, but there was, for most part, everybody in there was trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? They're trying to go home.
So how did you get yourself oriented in Garza and get to know what you could and couldn't do?
Oh, I'm pretty observant. I sit there and watch. I mean, you got your bunkie, you got the guys that you're sleeping around. So you get with them, the way I would get in was books. Of course, you start asking about what you got to read and this and that. And then, they start asking where you're from. And then, of course, don't get me wrong, when we went to Garza, Smith County went to Garza, it was 2 busloads of us that left Smith County. So I still had, in my dorm, 4 or 5 guys that came from Smith County with me in there, you know what I mean? So I had, I had a couple colored buddies, and a couple white friends or whatever. So, I mean, we do, everybody does kind of look out for each other in that way. We sit down and eat or whatever. We all got together. We eat every night. So everybody in the dorm would see who's hanging out. And then, I mean, it's basically, it's all respect. I mean, it's, you just respect everybody there, and that's it. No problems, really.
Did you read much before you got to prison?
No, I'm not a big reader, but I read a lot in there. Yes, it kept me sane, I guess you would say.
Did you work?
Yes, I worked in the kitchen. I was a faithful worker in there. I'd go every day. I'd go days I wasn't even supposed to go just to get out of the dorm. You know what I mean? To me, any time not in the dorm was time well spent. I'm working. I'm keeping my mind occupied. I got in good with the kitchen bosses. It got to the point to where, I mean, I could go in there and cook my own food if I wanted to. I didn't have to eat all the other crap. I could get eggs. I could get, decent food and stuff like that.
And
it was because I was a good worker.
So what, can you describe the dorms?
Very hot. Very, very hot. Like Garza West was the hottest place. You couldn't sleep, or when you get that one cool night, you can finally sleep. I mean, you're laying there in your bunk and you're literally just sweating all day long. And I mean, there's like 60 guys in one dorm. You got 4 toilets, 4 showers. Garza West, you had 2 toilets and 2 showers. All the other shit was broke. I mean, they had fans and everything, but it's just blowing hot air in circles. And that's the part that was worse than Florida to me. Florida had air conditioning. Texas, they don't give a dang. You're sweating. You're hurting in summertime here. Really bad. People are passing out, dehydrated, walking down the bowling alley, going to chow. People are just falling out on the ground. Yeah.
So what exactly did you do in the kitchen?
I was on the line. They serving food on the line. I did that for about 3 or 4 months. I pretty much ended up running my own line over there because after being there for so long, I was the guy that had to train the new people that come in because they flip a lot. And then I got to do the K cart, the K building. K building's where all the lockdown guys are, and people that are going home. And then you actually bring food, you load up all the food on your own hot box, your own cart, and you push it down there. And I got into there, and that way I was working in the air conditioning for about 3 hours a day. So I got lucky and did that. I was doing that for about the last 4 months I was there. So
Did you have any opportunity to take any classes while you were there?
Oh, yeah. I took construction fundamentals. I was taking C-Tech. I tried to get into all that stuff there too. I mean, construction fundamentals ended up stretching out for me for about 4 months through the holidays and everything. And I got that certificate, got my OSHA certificate. And then I was in C-Tech, but I ended up getting locked down for the COVID through most of that. So that ruined it. That was the class I really wanted. I really wanted to learn the fiber optics and the hard, copper wiring. I got to do telephones and all that. I got one certificate out of them. I think there's 4 certificates all together. But of course, I was right when they signed me up. I was already looking. I was with you guys, and I was pretty sure I was going to make parole. So I was telling them that, but they were like, "Well, we'll keep you on the list." I was like, "Well, I don't want to say no to the class in case I don't make parole." She goes, "Well, we'll just keep you on the list." And then sure enough, 2 weeks later, you guys tell me I made parole and they started my class. So it was crazy.
And so what class did you take before you were released?
That was telecoms. It's all about telephones and how they work and all that, cell phones and all that. It's pretty interesting. You get to wire, they have little switchboards and all that. You get to wire stuff and learn how to do coax and all that cables. And it was cool. It was cool.
So were you able to communicate with Aaron while you were in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I called my wife every day.
And so how do the phone calls work?
Oh, that was another thing. If you were in a bad dorm, that was one of the things you got in a fight over was them phones. So me, if I was fortunate that I could call her at a certain time every day, and I would just get up in the morning before everybody else get up, because, we're in prison. Most of the guys ain't even getting up in the morning. You get about 10 guys that might get up in the morning out of 60. So get up in the morning, eat my breakfast, read my Bible. And then I'd call my wife every morning, sometimes twice, but sometimes in the evening, it was harder because you got everybody up and then there's a phone line. And then, that one, there's only 2 phones for 60 people. So that one phone line you'll be in, about an hour and a half later, they'll be split up into 2 phone lines. Then you got 2 people coming up there trying to get on that phone at the same time. And it just starts problems. So they try to make a phone list and people start scratching each other's names off of it. It's not even worth it. I just get up in the morning, make my little, 30-minute phone call and be done with it. I called her every day. So it wasn't like there was a whole lot I was missing out on it.
Yeah. And so when you all are talking daily, what are you talking about?
She's always talking about money and financial stuff and what she got paid off and this and that. Her orders getting extended. And I don't have much to talk about. I'm doing the same crap every day. So it was just, I like to hear her voice. I call my mother, too, about once every 2 weeks. I call my boss, about once every 3 months. And, I only had them 3 people on there. So, but me and her, we just talk about, she can talk. I don't know if you ever met her. So she can, you give her one little subject, you're pretty good to go for about 20 minutes.
So, was anybody putting money on your books while you were in?
Yes, my wife took very well care of me. And she thought I was needing it, and I'd tell her I didn't need it, and she'd keep putting it on there. When I got released, I had a $1,200 check. She's like, honey, I said, well, I told you I didn't need all that money. You just kept sending it to me because, I'd only spend a certain amount because the lockers are only this big. You get to spend $95 every 2 weeks. I mean, you can't even fit it all in the locker. So, I'd go down and spend $40, $50. I just kept letting it build up.
And so what would you spend 40 or $50 on?
I just get a lot of tuna fish, crackers. I was trying to eat the healthier stuff, the peanuts, almonds. But the stuff I was eating was the more expensive stuff, the ramen noodles, I'd get my coffee, some cookies or whatever. It wasn't, before you know it, it's spent. It don't take much in there because, one little ramen noodle is like 90 cents. So this is commissary you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir. And so can you describe what that is like at Linkner?
At Pam Lynchner?
Yeah.
Well, we're supposed to be able to go every 2 weeks. There, it was more like every 3 weeks. So you're supposed to be able to spend, I think it was $100 or $95 every 2 weeks. So you're supposed to be able to get that in 2 months. Well, Pam Lynchner, that didn't happen. So that's why a lot of people did spend almost all their money, and not have it in their box. But then when they come around to do a cell inspection or whatever, if your food's not in your locker, they can take it for improper storage. So that would happen with a lot of these guys. And I'd be like, oh my God. So I didn't want to go through that. So I'd have everything. My locker was full, but I'd keep it packed in there and I would never eat. I had so much food in there. By the way, when it was time to go to the store, a few days before to go to the store, I'd start sharing with the poor guys that didn't have enough, And I was one of those guys. When I ordered, I'd go around and about $10 or $15 of my order, I would go pass around to the fellas that didn't have no food or, didn't get nothing.
So what was the store like and where was it in relation to the dorm?
Okay, you'd have to go out to the bowling. It was lined up on the bowling alley. They call them. You come out of the dorms and the bowling alleys, the long stretch in between all the dorms. Then you got the chow halls, and then you had 2 commissary windows, and they lined up. And of course, with COVID now, it made everything run a lot slower because they would only send out, like 18 guys at a time, and we all had to be 6 feet apart, lined up out there. So it made commissary run a lot slower. And then the stuff, like ice cream was a big thing. That was the only time you could get your ice cream, it was every 3 weeks. So I didn't order none of that for like a year and a half. I didn't order no sodas, no ice cream. I was staying away from, I didn't order no chips, no cookies, because I was trying to get all fit and everything. And then I hurt my back about the last 4 months in there working out. And started eating ice cream, started eating cookies. Laid up, I felt bad. I was mad because I couldn't work out and started doing all them burpees. And, I was getting in shape really good, but then I started pushing myself too hard. I forgetting I'm not 20 now, no more. I've been in a lot of car accidents. So my back's pretty messed up.
And so with your parole eligibility, did you ever pick up any minor or major cases?
I got one case in there for not wearing my mask, and that was like when I first got the Pam Lynchner. Other than that, I never got wrote up. And then, I've watched people get written up in the kitchen left and right, and I'm like, it's really not that hard. You guys just do what these people say and you're fine. So
that would be, your advice to anybody facing this is it's as simple as do what you're told and stay between the lines, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, when you get in there, you're going to be able to tell which officers to kind of stay away from doing, you know what I mean? And which ones, there's always the bad one, but even the bad one, after time, if they see that you're a good worker and, you do what you're told, you're not stealing and all that stuff, they're going to be just like the other officers. Because there was one in there, Miss Bryant. I mean, nobody liked the lady. Everybody hated her. She'd always write you up. She wouldn't let you do nothing. But you know what? She was the one that started going to K building with me. And it took me months just for that lady to ever say goodbye to me in the evening or anything. But I just kept, I just did my thing. And then she started going to K building with me because she's one of the sergeants. And when she get down there, she was a totally different lady. Totally different than when she was in the kitchen. But when she was in that kitchen, she had a job to do. So you got to respect the people. They have a job to do. You know what I mean? They got to keep order, and you got 50 inmates in there. 30 of them are trying to steal something. You know what I mean? Of course, she's going to have a little attitude. 30 of them are stealing something. The other 10 are running around trying to eat shit they're not supposed to. So it's just like, I mean, if you watch everything, it's like a big soap opera in there.
So
I just kept my head on straight. I was trying to make parole. So
yeah. And so with parole, do you remember meeting with an institutional parole officer?
I met the one guy and like a parole officer for out here.
No. Were you interviewed by anybody inside?
I called into Pam Lynchner about, Tay pretty much told me everything was going to happen before it happened. So, and he was right on point with it. And so it was like, everything that Tate already knew before they even told me. So I could call in there and I was like, okay, whatever. I already knew this.
So did talking to Tate help kind of get you prepared for that?
Oh man, he made my life a lot easier, Ed. I appreciate the play that, man. He always kept me boosted, he's a really good guy. I like talking to him every week. He kept me motivated. He's just like, just wait. It's just going to be a time thing, but he goes, I'm glad you're doing the right thing. He kept me motivated. And I like that, if Aaron called, you guys were always on it. And you guys are awesome. Yeah.
Well, I can just tell you that Tate thinks the world of you and really enjoyed getting to know you and Aaron.
Right. I like Tate. Yes, sir.
So what did it feel like when you found out you'd been granted parole?
Oh, it was great. I was like, heck yeah. I went over and told all my buddies, I'm like, man, I'm out of here. But, then after that, it seemed like the time was going by so slow. But because I think it was like 3 months I had to wait before I got out of there or whatever. And it was great. And then it was just like, I couldn't stay off that calendar then.
Yeah.
It slowed my time down. I started reading a lot more. And then what else slowed it down was being quarantined. So I couldn't go to work or nothing. So without going to work and going to school, my whole day was, I wasn't in that dorm, but to go to sleep most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and then when somebody come up positive for COVID, they lock us down for 30 days. And then if someone tested, a week later positive, it starts all over. So, I was locked down 2 months of the 3 before I even got out of there.
Wow.
And they're feeding you bag lunches. You don't get to eat chow. You're eating peanut butter sandwiches. And then with commissary on those during quarantine, you're only allowed to order, I think it was $35, $40. You couldn't even order a full order. So that was another reason why a lot of people would have their lockers overstuffed, because you got put on quarantine, you weren't going to be able to order everything you wanted. You know what I mean?
So do you remember what it was like when you got released and you walked out of TDCJ?
It was, I don't know. It's a weird feeling being free. You know what I mean? And when I seen Erin and her hair was purple, I was like, whoa. But it was a funny feeling. I mean, I'm getting into a vehicle and it felt like I was floating, you know what I mean? I could honestly say it was probably a high almost, because it was a funny feeling. I wasn't going to, I couldn't sleep, used to noise all the time, you know what I mean? And doors clanking and keys and people screaming. And so it took a minute to get back in the groove. But now it feels like I never even went. So I got a great parole officer. I don't even have to go down and see her. I get my parole visits are over the phone. My next house visit ain't until November of this year. So, I mean, I've been blessed between you guys and the parole officer and my wife and everything. I know there's somebody up there looking out for me.
Absolutely. What was it like getting home and getting back into your life?
Well, at first I really wanted to go to work right off the get. Erin's telling me to chill out and, stay home with my son and let me and him get back in tune, you know what I mean? Because in the end, she's going to have to go to work and I'm going to be here with him. It's just going to be me and him. So, and he's kind of, over the last couple of years, he's got a little abandonment issues because mommy's gone, I'm gone. So I stayed home with him, a good month. Me and him stayed home and doing daddy and boy stuff. And then I went and seen my boss, and seen his new shop and, let him know, whenever you start pulling some more work. So we got a couple big jobs that should be coming up. And then, I didn't want Erin to leave either, now because now I'm home. I want to be home with my family. And then she's got to leave every Tuesday night and she don't come back till Friday night. So I'm just like, so it took a minute to get used to that, but we got it all squared away now. So,
well, I was looking through the letters that you sent to Tate, and one of the pages I found has kind of your plans for the week.
Oh, yeah.
And so how has life been compared to your plan?
It's not been like I wanted it. I mean, yes, we found a good church. I'm happy for that. We found a good church. My working out has been more of going out to eat at a restaurant. Food has changed my life. I've probably gained 25 pounds already. What? She said 40. I'm about up to 230 pounds now. I got out, I was probably 190. But I like food. And but I got stuff in my head that says I'm going to do it, you know what I mean? I got to go back in for surgery again. So that kind of depresses me a little bit when I start thinking about that stuff. Because I don't know. When I start doing something, I want to do it and I don't want to be interrupted. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the surgery is going to set me back another month. I won't be able to go to work. I won't be able to work out. I'll be laid up in bed again. And so I got that in the back of my mind. So when that's all over with, by the time that month I'm laid up, I'm going to have me a whole nother plan to start and start getting back into my Bible studies more. I'll be laid in bed. Soon as she gets back off these orders, that's going to change our life a little bit too, because then we're going to be able to start going to church more, be able to become full members and start going on Wednesday nights and stuff to bring my son there. We want him to be more, because he really likes church. You know what I mean? It's just right now, without both of us together, because he don't like doing nothing without mommy either.
So how has your Bible study in church affected you?
Right now?
Yeah.
Or back then, it affected me a lot. It helped me a lot. I was doing it a lot. Right now, I haven't. I've just been going to church and going to work and working here. I mean, we've been remodeling the house, and I know I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't put God off for nothing, but I need to sit down and get my priorities right.
And so what led you to start studying the Bible while you were in TDCJ?
Well, I was really into church the last time I went to prison. And it really helped. That helped me out a lot when I got out. For like 2 years, I didn't do nothing when I got out of prison the last time. And I know it was because I was into the word and I was going to church every day or every couple times a week. And I had AA meetings that was a Christian AA thing. So it kept me, and then people kept me on the right path. Right now, I know it's what I need. And I don't know, maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know, but I need to get back in it. It's just, when I talk about it, it bothers me. So, because I know I should be doing more. I feel like I should be doing more.
Well, what hopes and dreams do you and Erin have for your life as a family and the future?
Well, right now, all she wants to work me like a slave. No, I'm kidding. No, we're trying to get this house finished remodeled, which is going to probably cost us quite a bit. I mean, the last couple of years, a lot of stuff's went downhill, so catching up and getting everything back in order just so we can start remodeling. I mean, I did a couple rooms. I'm working my way down the hallway. We're fixing to do the master bathroom. We're trying to get all this done. We want to be able to, like once a month, we just want to be able to go on trips, like my daughter's coming down 4th of July with her new man that I haven't met yet. So I'm going to take them to Slitterbahn. And then at least once a year, like go to Florida or go out of state somewhere to see the family. We just want to, she's pretty much done really well on getting us out of debt now. So we have no debt. We got 3 cars in the driveway. I mean, we're doing pretty well. We got money in the bank, So
that's terrific.
We just want to be able to, and Caden, got to be able to do stuff with him. He's wanting to start playing soccer, but I don't know if that's going to have time if we start doing all this church stuff too. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
we got a lot of plans. Putting them all in motion is another thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're all like
graduated. Yeah. Everybody you got this big old list that sounds good, but seems like only 2 or 3 of them get done out of it.
Yeah.
But that's why I started telling my wife, I was like, yeah, we got so much stuff we want to do. I said, but in the end, we just need to get out there and just do something. Even if it's not a lot, every weekend, just get out there and just do something. So that's what she's doing. I cleaned her out a garden area this week while she was gone. So now she's planting all her plants. Yeah.
That's terrific.
They're all over my house, these seeds and plants and everything. You know, the garden's in the house right now. So I had to clear something out so she could get them outside.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific. I have really enjoyed talking to you so much about all this, and I appreciate you sharing all that you did about everything you've been through in your life, and I've just really enjoyed this.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah. So I just wish you and Aaron and Caden the very best going forward. And I just hope that life continues to get better and better for you all.
It has gotten better. I can't say that I've ever been this happy in my whole life. So I know it's because I'm heading down the right path.
Outstanding. Well, thanks a lot for talking to me, Jake, and I will be in touch soon.
All right. I appreciate you, Mr. Ted.
Okay, thanks.